So I didn't want to upload the second part of the game because this happened, which yeah, made me rage quit, I'm not gonna lie. And look at that. What is that? That was at the end of this video, and I was so confused it made me stop playing the game because I'm like, yo, this is a parkour game. Why is it got some next like crazy shadow dude? So I ain't trying to have no pop-ups like that again. Let's hope not. But yeah, this game will make you sweat, man. Like the way my hands were like flipping on edge. Like on the first like probably 5 minutes of this video, it's gonna be like pretty crazy in terms of how much I'm failing because I'm just getting used to the game again. The one thing about this game that pisses me off the most, mind the language, is the metal things on the side of the walls because they're so easy to slip through. Like this part here isn't too bad, but the metal bit, that's just the bit where I just mess up the most on the game. But yeah, hope you guys are doing well. I suggest you get this game, man. It's really good. It really is good, man. It's like only up, and I'm not actually cutting the gameplay just because I feel like these kind of games you can't really cut up because each part is different as compared to a racing game where it's like the same car, the same map, so it kind of just flows well. So yeah, I guess we're doing like a little let's play, if you will, just with the NFL again. But yeah, I had to pre-record this because there's no way I'm talking and playing this at the same time because that is flipping difficult. But yeah, I think we'll talk about the power of placebo and how important it is. How important it is to potentially lie to yourself as well. Because if everything in our reality is a direct representation of our mind, which might be hard to grasp for some people, but let's just keep it really simple as to your internal world makes up your external world. Obviously not completely. Otherwise, you know, we'd probably be having like superpowers and wings and all of that stuff, but you know, we're kind of limited in our physical form at least. However, placebo is a crazy thing, and it's a thing that you can't really measure, and it can make you do crazy amounts of things. So it's a good thing. It can be a good thing to lie to yourself in some regards, and a lot of us I was having a conversation with my friend yesterday, and we were talking about how a lot of people are hopeless, basically. They don't really realize the power that they hold within themselves, and it's true. Not only is it true, but imagine believing that you're powerful and the kind of direct results, and I fell again, but the kind of direct results that kind of come across after that, after believing in yourself, and that's the placebo effect. It can really make or break you, because if you're truly telling yourself, even if you might not be at the stage where you want to be, but you're living that kind of lifestyle, at some point in time, again, this is where time is a factor now. We'll use money as an example, right? If you live, or at least think, like someone who has a lot of money, and the way that they would manage things and stuff like that, you're going to probably start to take decisions in the same way that they do. And if that happens, then you never know, you might just come across the next crazy idea that can help the world and also, again, give you money if you're money motivated, or if it's anything else. I mean, even a lot of times we buy a lot of these supplements, a lot of these vitamins and stuff like that, and whilst it may not even be completely absorbed by your body, the placebo effect is it could be strong for it. You might like feel like it's working, and that just shows the power of your mind, the power of what you truly can do with yourself. And I think that's really important, man. It's really powerful, and it lets you change your life, and it gives you that freedom to change your life and the way you think. And obviously what helps with the placebo effect is going to be surrounding yourself with things that help you imagine it better. I feel like nowadays a lot of people can't visualize very well, they can't daydream very well. And obviously you might think, daydreaming, what's that got to do with the placebo effect? Well, if you can imagine certain things a lot of times throughout the day and you constantly use your imagination, you can use that for yourself, and you can use that for the kind of way you want life to go towards, and that's amazing. But obviously because we live in more of a comfortable world than it was before, our imagination may not be as, we may not have as much as what we essentially did when we were kids, because we weren't really surrounded by, you know, the technology and constant simulation all the time. It was like, all right, we're in a boring classroom. What can we do to kind of escape this? And that's where our imagination thrived a lot. That's where we came up with like pretty crazy scenarios, at least for me. You know, when you used to daydream in class, you just imagine various scenarios and they'd be very realistic. And even the times when you might even fall asleep in class, which I was pretty close to doing a few times, just because some of the classes you take are really boring, you know. So, but it's important for to basically have that kind of imagination, because if you can visualize that kind of stuff, obviously back then you'd probably be thinking about this some random stuff, but because if you're on the older side of life, you can pretty much use that to your advantage, because you can start to think of great solutions, and then you can think of crazy ways to empower yourself in whatever means that is. And I feel like that's another reason why a lot of people who essentially believe in the idea of a physical manifestation of God, for example, as to be a literal figure, a person, or even yourself. I think it's because it just gives people more of a clearer idea and a clearer imagination as to realizing the sort of power within them, within their mind that they hold. And that's pretty crazy, man, because it works. It works because if you think about it, even when it comes to things like miracles are experienced all around the world, and it's not just kind of one person, one thinking kind of way. It kind of sets into your imagination and the way that your mind works, which again can link to the placebo effect. It's a crazy phenomenon, man. It really is. And it's mad because one person's placebo compared to another person's placebo are gonna be completely different. So that's why obviously things don't work exactly for everyone. And I think that's a good thing, because again, it gives us more of an opportunity to understand each other's perspectives and kind of bring each other's sort of placebo effects to each other. And then we can get a better kind of representation and sort of thought process of life itself. And I think that's amazing, man. It might not seem like much because, again, we're so used to it, but when you actually think about it, it's a crazy thing. And so that's going to lead me to the point about lying to yourself, because if you just keep sort of believing what it is you want to believe in, which is ideally, let's try and get the good stuff going, whilst you may not completely believe it in itself, but if you keep telling yourself it, at some point, you probably will start to believe it, or at least start thinking about it. I can use any example for this case. Let's say you don't feel good about your looks, right? A lot of people, I think at some point in their life would feel this. I think that's pretty much universal, right? You might not feel like you look good enough. And so you might start to say, okay, I feel good, I look good. And over time, you might start to develop answers that can help you essentially achieve that, because if you're feeling it, you're going to be probably taking actions of someone who you might regard as looking good, right? They take care of themselves, they smell good, they hygiene, they exercise, they sleep well. They're just essentially healthy. They're full of vitality. And if you kind of lie to yourself in that regards, yeah, you might start kind of gravitating towards that, and you might even see your physical looks change as a result of that. Which I guess you could say is like a form of manifestation. I ain't gonna go into that in this video. We're just talking about placebo effect, but self-talk is critical in terms of placebo effect and how it works, because again, it's a direct result on how you're viewing yourself. And if you keep repeating stuff out loud, something you can consciously do, your subconscious might over time start to be like, oh, okay, he's saying this, therefore let's follow that. And that is a scary drop below. 70 meters is it was pretty tough to get here, I'm not gonna lie. It took half an hour to get here, as you can see on the top right of the screen. Also, so the thing on the bottom left is vertigo. Obviously you probably know what that is, but it makes everything zoom out. So the game is really, really immersive. I'm honestly like a big fan of the game for sure. It's great, man. And the music and everything, like, it's good, man. I think more games like this, and you saw that in The Only Way Is Up. These games have a lot of potential, especially when it kind of combines multiplayer. I think a lot of indie games, and if you are an indie developer, or you make games, or you know someone who make games, having a multiplayer feature, which is probably really, really hard to kind of incorporate, but it's a big thing, man. Especially for me personally, I like playing games just for the multiplayer aspect of things, just because I think any game can be good if you play with the right people. Because it's just fun. It's cooperative. It's just fun, really and truly. Otherwise, if like that game Only Ways Up wasn't, I don't think it would have as much hype attraction. Great game nonetheless, but like this game here, if this game had that kind of similar thing, because it's first person as well, that would be crazy. That'd make it so much more immersive and so much more into like the feel of the game. And the thing is, graphics and stuff like that don't really matter in games as well. It's just gameplay and immersion, I think, is like the most kind of important features, especially when it comes to games like this, like parkour games. Because man, like I said before, this game, the whole time playing, man, my hands are sweating. It's crazy how games can replicate feelings like that, and they can, I guess, in a way, take advantage of our, what do you call it, the reptilian brain, the survival part of our brain, because it makes us feel like we're in this situation here where we're like one jump and it could be over. Pretty smart, man. It's pretty smart how like this stuff it's all come about, man. But man, I'm on a tangent now, aren't I? Yeah, let's just review the rest of the game, to be honest. 85 meters in, 88 now, and I have to look down at every stage because I'm just like, okay, if I make this fall, especially when it comes to the metal bits, am I gonna fall to the bottom? Because I was not trying to get to the point where it's like I have to start again, because it would take a while to get up here. So you have to literally be so cautious whenever you're doing it. And there's still so much left to go. I don't know what this game goes up to in terms of meters. I presume it's gonna be something like 500 meters. And we ended the video on like 100 and something, so yeah, it's a long way to go. She's gonna be pretty crazy, I guess. It's weird as well in this game, you kind of have to go a little bit down before you can go back up, which is, usually it's not, like, I'd imagine games like this would be linear, but nah, this is actually a, I kind of like the idea, to be honest, because it's not like just straightforward, you have to think a little bit. Like even here, you have to look up towards, so you don't hit your head and fall down. Well thought, man. Beton, brutal. And to the person that recommended it, I really appreciate you, man. Great game. But yeah, if you made it this far, man, you're loyal. I appreciate you. And I'm glad that my videos can help. At least help entertain, or, I think the core purpose, or at least what I kind of would be cool, is again, someone can put this in the background if they're having a bit of a rough day. They can just tune in maybe before bed or whatever, and then not be so bogged down by the world. Just a reminder just to stay neutral about life, just to keep it calm, keep it steady, keep going forward, man. Sometimes you're obviously gonna have rough patches and stuff like that. So if videos like this can help them get through it in the bad days, the good days are gonna be amazing for them. So let's see how the channel unfolds. I think we're on like 800 right now. I'm not really too fussed about subs and stuff like that. Like I guess other people would think I would be, because again, the main thing is if I can just help at least just one person out, that's what's gonna be the most important thing, because you know, I've still made a difference into someone's life. The numbers are just like, alright, cool. If it's more, it's more. If it's not, it's not. Either way, the goal is pretty much still the same. And I think here, I got confused. I was supposed to turn around, but I actually ended up doing a whole lap again around. And I was so confused because I was like, oh, did these like blocks fall down or anything like that? But no, they're just there for, I don't even know why. Aesthetics? I'm like, damn, I've come back to the same point. What do I do now? How do I get up? Because it's literally just a circle overlapping. But yeah, either way, if you're going through any kind of mental struggle, I hope you make it through, man. And not even hope, but you should. There's a lot that life has to offer, and despite what the world will tell you, there is a lot to offer, man. In every stage of life, like there's always going to be the doom glorifiers who, and you've had this all the time, like in the last like 50 years. You've always had people like, oh, it's the end of the world, it's the end of the world, but that's not a good way to live, I don't think. And I actually used to kind of be like one of those people. I'm like, oh man, the world is just gonna keep on going through so much suffering. Is things really gonna change? But we can only change it if we change ourselves, man. And then make little impact over time, and then maybe we can develop into a better world, man. Into a more loving world, into a more accepting world, and less judgment, more hope. And we'd see everyone accomplish their dreams, man. Which I think is super important, because you don't want to grow old, full of regret, full of all of that terrible, terrible stuff, right? But yeah, 106 meters in, this is pretty crazy now, isn't it? Also, the OST music soundtrack in this game, it's great. It really is. I've only put basically my recording software didn't actually capture the audio for some reason, even though I've set it to the right setting. But yeah, I just put one of the soundtracks in the background if you can hear that. It's pretty chill, pretty nice, it's pretty immersive. I don't know what you'd call it, maybe neo ambience, potentially. I don't know. I don't even know if that's a genre, to be honest. But yeah, I'm just waffling at this point, aren't I? See, this is what I'm saying about this game as well, because you'd come up to this block here, and then you'd think, oh, okay, how do I go forward? But you have to go down and then back around and then up. And that's why this game's cool, because you have to actually think a little bit. You can't just rush just like any other parkour game and just keep hopping and hopping. Like even the sprint mechanics of the game, it zooms out the camera a little bit. It's really like little things like that, to me at least, makes me really appreciate a game. Like the really like finite details of the game. I don't know, maybe it's just me who kind of notices these things rather than the game itself, but I tried to pay attention to like, alright, the developer put this much thought into even like the bricks, right? Having a little bit of moss on them. He didn't need to do that, but it adds to the immersion. And we're coming up to the point where I had to quit the game because look, right about now, yeah, you see that? Some random figure. And I said, hell no. I was like, I don't want none of that. But anyway, peace and blessings.